Cross me up! Don't snap, don't breathe, just leave me of this skin. And baby begin!
Good morning, brother.
Good morning, my brother Max. Welcome to Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz, episode 6. Part 1, because I think we're going to do a 2-part episode today.
I don't know why we're doing a 2-part episode. I have a lot of things I need to push back on with you. Number one, you're like asking me like to tweet during these games, like to keep some sort of like live journal about how I'm feeling during these games on Twitter. And I'm just not, I can't do that, Sam. I like the idea of having a Phone Wallet Keys David Ortiz Twitter account wherein I can go in on racist Boston sports commentators, of which there are so many, and of which I will discuss later on in this episode. But during the actual game, it's just like too much to ask for me to like function as a human while watching the game, keep my basic vital functions going, and tweet is just too much to ask. I know that that like we were raised to be like atheist materialist anti-Zionist Jews who had like disdain for organized religion and belief in higher powers in general by our father, who would mock his younger sister, who's a rabbi, from the back of her sermons and shit. But when it comes to like baseball games late in innings, I go from being a materialist atheist to being like a neck deep in Madonna Kabbalah superstitious weirdo. I can't be asked to tweet during these games, Sam. I just want you to know that it's over. That's never gonna happen. How could I tweet? What am I supposed to say when like I'm sitting on both of my hands glued to one couch cushion and not the other, you know, because the other one is unlucky because they gave up a 2-run home run when I was sitting in it?
Okay, well, I understand that, and it's perfectly okay if you don't want to tweet during games because you're too much of a wreck. I mean, I just asked you to tweet in general because you have some weird ability to tap into the vein of viral America, which you've shown again and again, and it would be cool if this podcast was one more notch in your viral belt. So maybe just if you could do, without making me afraid for my life, if there's some way that you could blow this up.
Wait, that's why you want me to be tweeting? I thought it was because you were doing like so much, basically all of the reproductive labor around this podcast, that it would be only fair if I spent time on Twitter. Like I thought that was like,
yeah, it's a good division of labor too. Like, you don't know how to edit or record a podcast. I do, so I'll do that. I don't know how to go viral, but you do, so you take us viral, and I just like go behind the scenes and fucking make sure the trains run on time.
Let's
talk.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Speaking of trains running on time,
I was gonna say, speaking of trains running on time, have you seen the rise of fascism in Brazil?
In Brazil? I thought you were gonna say in New York and Portland.
Oh, well, I would like to ask you about the Proud Boys in New York. I'm glad, because I've been like complaining about them on previous podcast episodes. They're actually like in the news this week, and so we can talk about it. I just have a question for you as a martial artist who belongs to like the most serious Aikido dojo in the country. What good is it if like you like are really good at like fucking practicing Iaido and doing Aikido, if like with your dojo mates, if you guys are gonna just let the fucking Proud Boys run amok in your city with katana swords? Like, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel a little impotent?
Question. I mean, it makes me feel like, oh god, this like katana, this like obsession with katana swords is not cool at all. Maybe it's just like
Maybe.
maybe it's really kind of just low hanging fruit to the fucking scum of the earth. Everyone fucking thinks samurai swords are cool. I mean, samurais are cool. Samurai swords are cool, but just to like kind of study and be into it doesn't give you a pass. Doesn't make you different than apparently. That guy's the fucking founder of Vice. What's the fucking deal with that?
Sam, I just don't understand what you're personally doing. Like
you
what
wanted
you
me to
talk
go out
about
there
when
with
you
a
go and you
sword and fight
practice
that
martial
guy?
arts. If like you're going to just let the Proud Boys run amok and beat people up in your city, like don't you feel? Haven't you seen enough superhero movies to like know what you have to do? Don't you like feel like with the great power that you have acquired through your martial arts training comes like some sort of responsibility to physically confront the Proud Boys and beat them up?
Did you see those guys?
Yeah, but like you're like this. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like they are big, like terrible dudes, and also you train martial arts with big, terrible dudes who aren't. I mean, like they look terrible.
I mean, all the training that I've ever done, if I was in that situation, would maybe allow me to be like, this is a completely dangerous, fucked up situation, and you need to get the fuck out of here. And here's how you're gonna get the fuck out of here without getting killed. But it's not like I'm just gonna go in there and just start fucking throwing Proud Boys left and right.
Well, I think
and, like,
you should
breaking arms.
reconsider or reevaluate because there's we're having a real problem with these people, and like clearly the cops aren't going to do anything. In fact, the cops are protecting them. Why? Because the cops and white like are a white supremacist institution, and so of course they're down with the white supremacist Proud Boys. So if it's like the cops aren't going to do anything, isn't it gonna like? Don't we have to protect ourselves? Don't we have to like?
It'd be fun if we could get our because my martial arts instructor, I call him Sensei.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if Savoka Sensei could just like hear about the Proud Boys or like happen to like stumble across like a newspaper article about the Proud Boys and hear like what they're doing in his city, and like maybe he would be really upset and train you on how to like confront them. I just think it's important that we organize ourselves into like some sort of, like, especially those of us with martial arts training, to do some like community defense work, don't you?
All right, I'll think about it. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. Now then, speaking of community defense work, we should just get into it. I would like to talk about baseball first because
you always want to talk about baseball first. It is the playoffs, I guess.
I mean, if you could have, like, last night around the 7th inning, and I don't know, the Patriots looked like they were going to win all the way. Like, I don't know, there was that time when the Chiefs pulled ahead, and we were only up by 1 run, and it was like, oh, man, we could actually lose both of these games or win both of them.
They had a weird synergy with them. It was actually amazing to watch them both at the same time on different screens. They're both happening in Boston, too. Like, there was a weird ebb and flow, a tide, if you will, of both games that were synced up. It was kind of beautiful.
Yeah, or incredibly stressful.
The only way to talk about them is probably both at the same time in the way that we consume them. But no, because we have to catch up a little bit on baseball. We haven't done a podcast since we beat the Yankees. So let's put the Patriots aside for a second. You know, we won't keep doing this, but let's get into baseball first. And you want to start last night and work our way backwards?
No, I think we should just like quickly. Well, I would like to say that like it is clear so far that the Astros and Yankees are completely different squads, and the Astros are really, really, really good.
Oh, that's interesting. So the Astros aren't these mutant Goliaths who are here to haunt our dreams and destroy our lives like the Yankees were.
We beat the Yankees, and I'm not sure we can beat the Astros because the Astros are really, really good. They have 3 good starters, and they have 5 really good hitters. And I think the Red Sox might have 3, but probably just 2 really. I mean, like, Xander's great. he would be our number 3. But like we just don't have as much. They have a much better lineup. That is so gross, Sam. All right, I guess we have to say this now. Sam is sick. We're doing
I'm a little sick. Sorry.
We're gonna have a podcast. We're gonna try and edit out all the hacking and coughing and phlegm Olympics, but bear with us. I'm sorry. So all I was trying to say is that the Astros seem like they have 5 really good hitters. Their lineup isn't as top heavy as ours, and they can, when they get deep in their lineup, they can get back to the top of their order way quicker and way easier, way more fluid, with way more men on base than we seem to be able to. And
this guy George Springer seems Ortizian.
He's really good. They're all and also like, have you noticed how when the Red Sox like do something good, like hit a double, they do this weird little shimmy?
Hip shake, yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
And like when someone does something really good and Mookie Betts is in the dugout, he like cutely takes off their helmet for them.
Huh.
What the Astros do when they do something really cool is they scream "fuck yeah" at the top of their lungs and like smack themselves. They're like they seem like warriors, and
they also hug each other a lot. They're just so sweet.
They're really amped, and they have championship energy, and they won the title last year, and it's going to be really hard to beat them. I'm glad we won last night because I don't think it would have been possible to come back from 2-0 against them, even though I saw the Red Sox come back from 3-0 in the ALCS. So anything is possible, as Kevin Garnett would say. Do you agree with that, brother?
Yeah, I agree, of course. Thank you. Listen, the series is tied 1-1 right now, and Evaldi looked really good against the Yankees. So I actually do have some confidence going forward. I mean, we went 1-1, and we did not get a strong outing from either of our starting pitchers, and that's our arguably one of our biggest strengths.
Well,
so
Chris Sale
I think we have a lot of room to improve.
Chris Sale, after his game 1 start where he did not throw 98 miles an hour, instead he threw in the low 90s, had to go to the hospital, it sounded like, last night for a stomach virus, which I just would like to flag for everyone listening. Chris Sale is a multi-millionaire and has the entire city of Boston, which has the best hospitals in the world, pulling for him. So he has access to excellent medical care. But can you imagine if we all had that? Like if we all had the ability to like go to the hospital and get observation because we had stomach flu? Like, wouldn't it be something if we could record this podcast with a fully convalescent Sam Geller who had access to excellent healthcare and was able to get better rather than cough into his microphone while his brother is trying to talk?
Wait, well, you don't understand. I'm coughing very far away from the microphone. It's just that I have a microphone that I record into, and then I have the microphone that I'm speaking into you that's my earbud. So that was a cough that you did into the microphone.
No, it wasn't.
I'm actually coughing far away from the microphone. I don't even know if the audio will pick it up. Yes. Are you trying to say like health? Like, what if we had universal healthcare, access to the same healthcare that our sports athletes did? Why the fuck is Chris Sale in the hospital for a stomach flu?
I don't know. I think he was really nervous about facing the Astros because they're so good, and so he got an upset stomach.
Christ. All right, can we walk it back and talk about the end? Last time we spoke, was it after Game 3 or Game 4? I forget now.
I feel like it was Tuesday.
Were the Red Sox? My question is: were the Red Sox up 2-1 or was it 1-1?
It might have been 1-1.
I think it was actually, yeah.
So then Nathan Evaldi went out and did great. Brock Holt hit for the most incredible cycle. Oh, maybe we did talk after Brock Holt's cycle, did we not? Because remember I was talking about being vindicated by liking Brock Holt at second and Devers at third.
And then fucking Nunez comes back for game 1 and just like, I don't want to see Nunez again. I'm sorry. I'm fucking done with Nunez. Give me Devers all series. Devers at third.
I thought in the 9th inning last night, there was a hit that led to one of Craig Kimbrell's base runners that Nunez might have had. I thought that was funny to say after that Nunez would have had it, even though Nunez straight up lost us game 1.
He single-handedly lost this game 1. What do you mean he would have had that?
No, I know. It's just a funny Boston thing is always to say that the person, like after someone gets a hit, that the person who most recently occupied the position would have had it. Like I remember when I was a kid, like it was opening day, and there was a hard grounder that got through the hole, and someone just shouted out, Jody Reed would have had it. And ever since then, I've been like, you hear that all the time. It's like a Red Sox fait accompli situation.
Okay, so yeah, so I think we were up 2-1 last time we talked. So let's just briefly go over that clinching game 4 against the Yankees.
Well, I think the only thing to talk about right now is how Craig Kimbrell isn't inspiring a lot of confidence. I think it was funny how, we've been talking all year long about how it's insane that we're this good and we don't have an 8th inning person we trust. And then that 8th inning person that was staring us in the face all year long is as Chris Sale. So it was really good to have Chris Sale come in with. I liked the Cora's move to put Chris Sale in the 8th inning,
or Rick Porcello last night, and he did that.
Yeah, I just thought it was like it was the mentality of like win now is something that like makes sense to me from a strategical standpoint. But then
it is.
Kimbrell came on, and there's like watching that meltdown, watching it go from like a 3-run lead to a 2-run lead to a 1-run lead, and then like, oh my god, if we lose this game and have to go back to Boston, we're fucked. Chris Sale's already pitched. This is going to be a devastating loss. I can't believe Kimbrell's doing this. How could this be happening? How did we allow ourselves to have such a shaky bullpen? And then, so Sanchez, like, first of all, it's hilarious that Craig Kimbrell couldn't find the strike zone, and yet you don't have to throw strikes to strike out Giancarlo Stanton. That's funny. I was glad to see him fail. I was relieved when Gary Sanchez flew out to the warning track, which again happened last night. It's crazy how close Craig Kimbrell keeps coming to blowing these games. He almost blew the last one against the Yankees. He almost blew the one last night.
He really did.
I think if Cora has this willingness to go to starters in the 8th, he should consider, especially if they have a clean and breezy inning, he should have let Porcello finish the game last night. He should have let Chris Sale finish the game against the Yankees.
But I guess, I mean, what he's like saying, you need a bullpen. You can't just have your starting pitchers like pitch 3 innings in relief and then start the game, 2 games later, which is I don't know. We're gonna need Kimbrell to win the World Series, but it's feeling like a less and less reliable situation.
So this is what I would say.
Looked great last night.
I think, according to the stats provided to the TV viewers last night, Kimbrell is really good, or much better when he pitches every day, or on less than 2 days rest than on 3. But it's hard to get him into the games more than 3 days apart in the playoffs because there's all these off days. So what I would say is it was a dumb move to not bring Kimbrell in the 9th in game one, even though we were losing the game, we were only down by 1. Workman comes in and fucking Red Sox bullpens it up, gives up 2 home runs, 1 a 3-run shot, and that game was over. It was not using Kimbrel there was dumb, and then he was really rusty last night, and it almost like cost us in a big way. I also just like can't mentally handle watching him have these like meltdowns. It's so stressful having our bullpen walk people like that and then have them score every time. It's just like please stop doing that. It sucks.
Yeah, agreed. And I agree with you. Kimbrel should have pitched the 9th in game 1. You can't put that at Cora because he was ejected so early on.
I mean, if you think about it, like we should have been able to win game 1 because it was like a bad play at third and then another bad play that allowed them to score their first 3 runs. And if that pitch that led to Cora getting ejected where Benintendi struck out was 6 inches outside, and I just don't understand how you can give Verlander, who had just walked 3 straight dudes, that call a strike 3 look is very frustrating. If Benintendi gets to swing the bat there, he could have broken the game open. Also, if Mookie Betts hadn't been a first, like that was so crazy in game 1. So do you remember what happened to him? We like score our first 2 runs to tie the game. And then Betts comes up with a bases loaded and his first pitch, like after 3 straight walks to get it to him, or a hit and 2 walks, he's first ball swinging and grounds out to the shortstop. Very, very uncharacteristic. I mean, it was better than what Kinsler did last night, which was strike out twice with the bases loaded. That was like truly horrific.
Kinsler looked scared of the moment. I don't want to see him anymore either.
I don't want to see him either.
I just want Brock Holt and Rafael Devers to start from here on out. I'm going down with those 2.
Last night they were talking about like Devers had a bunch of hits. Devers is really good. He seems like he's locked in and he really is enjoying the moment. So I agree with you.
Yeah. They said on the broadcast like that Cora said he liked Nunez's ability to hit really like hard throwing.
Yeah, that is
pitchers.
Like your like prototypical national announcers who don't watch enough Red Sox baseball shouldn't opine on things that they don't understand. It's like if there's like a political symbol that I don't understand, I'm not going to like open my mouth about it. And I just don't understand why these people have to like say these lies. Devers' only quality that is clear to everyone is his ability to hit velocity, not Nunez. Yeah. It's Devers who can do that. Yeah. Like the guy just like got those 2 things flipped in his head and said the wrong thing because, I mean, Devers crashed onto the national scene with turning around 103 mile an hour fastball from Aroldis Chapman.
I'm glad that I actually said something because that's clarifying. I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
I want to talk about something that like, you know, I have a lot of friends in Boston who have been listening to the podcast, which we really appreciate, and they've been feeding me these outrageous things that I miss by not listening to sports radio because I'm not local anymore. Uh-huh. So there's this Boston radio personality named Eric Dickerson, Sam.
Of course.
And I just like to get your take on this.
He's been around for a while.
He has many, many crimes that he must answer for when the tribunals are formed. But last night or yesterday, before the game, this is what he said, and it's like something that like makes me happy we have a Twitter account because I'm going to after we I'm going to go in on this. This really makes me mad. It's just I would like to get your take on it. This guy said before David Price's start, he's like, you know, we really need to win this game, but a part of me just wants to see David Price get lit up. So this is a Boston sports personality talking to a Boston sports audience, openly rooting for the Red Sox to fail, which seems like, you know, like if you were like a GOP operative who went on CNN, right? And you were like openly calling for the GOP to fail, you would get fired from the GOP, right? Like, if you went on Fox News and did that, they would sexually harass you and then maybe kill you or at least fire you. But how?
Or like isn't it like a never Trumper or something? It's like I'm like a good Republican, but I can't get behind this guy Trump. So it's like he's like a never Pricer. He's like, I'm a good old fashioned Red Sox
No,
guy.
he's
I
a
like
racist,
Yaki.
Sam.
I like it back when Yaki wouldn't let black people on the team, and now we've got this guy David Price.
Yeah. I think
I'm supposed to root for this guy.
This is the same guy who Eric Dickerson, who pushed back when someone called an opposing play. He was like, I don't believe that someone would just be shouting the N-word at Fenway Park, which I think is ludicrous. First of all, if a black person says that something racist happened to them in Boston, believe them. And second, without any evidence to suggest that this person was incorrect is crazy. But I just think that this is a simple hypothesis. But if you work in the Boston sports media and are rooting against the Boston sports team to win because you don't like the black athlete who is starting, you are a racist. It would be completely unacceptable for anyone in Boston to just be openly rooting against Tom Brady. Like, no one is.
I think it's a great point. I think you're 100%
There's
right.
no way. There's no white athlete who can get rooted against in the city of Boston without repercussions. But if you are a black athlete and you play for the Boston team, you can get hated on and cheered against by your own city. It's crazy. It's crazy that there's tolerance for that. It was really jarring to me that this guy is talking to a Boston sports audience who are as stressed out as you and I are, as anxious as you and I are, and plus are fucking your average sports radio listener and are being fed this racial bias hate against a black starting pitcher. It's really, I can't believe it's happening.
I'm with you 100%.
Now,
so go after him, Max. Spare no punches.
Oh,
get us into a flame.
I mean, this is on some Dan Shaughnessy shit. This guy, all these young 50-year-old, purple-faced, Trump-supporting weekend warriors who get their own radio shows in Boston are all competing with each other to be the heir apparent to Dan Shaughnessy, who is 85 years old. And what is that? What was that senator from Mississippi called?
Strom Thurmond?
Strom Thurmond, right. Dan Shaughnessy is basically turned into Strom Thurmond, and all these other Boston is Mississippi. Strom Thurmond is 100 years old. He's still a senator, but everyone knows it's got to end sometime. And so all these young racists are competing with themselves to outdo one another to replace Dan Shaughnessy when Strom Thurmond finally dies. And we all suffer because of this dynamic.
So if you listening to this podcast are interested in hearing my brother or reading my brother really go after these guys and take them down, follow us on Twitter at Wallet Keys Ortiz and on Instagram Phone Wallet Keys David Ortiz. Also subscribe to the podcast, tell a friend about it, because Max really feeds on attention from other people. So if you really want him to go and get these guys, you're going to have to encourage him. You're going to have to let him know that the world is watching, and he won't hold back. If he starts building up some momentum, he might take a few of these guys down. I can't wait to watch that. Should we shift gears and talk about the Patriots, Max?
Well, I just want to talk. I mean, we have an off day in the series. We're going Nathan Eovaldi's pitching game 3 against Dallas Keuchel, whatever the thing is. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but it sounds like the thing that you do when you start and stop peeing.
Huh?
But I think
What's that?
Games 3, 4, and 5 are all in Houston. I mean, you think we're gonna have one? We need to win one of them, otherwise we don't.
The series is over.
Yeah, I would like to win 2 of them and then win Game 6 Saturday in Boston and be done with it. But it just seems like we're up against a fucking juggernaut.
So apparently, Tony and Liza, our parents' friends, got tickets somehow to Game 6, and they can't go. And so our parents are going to go to Game 6.
Oh, that's great.
And I think if we both fly home, we can just like tie them up, anesthetize them, and go in their stead if you want.
Well, that is tempting. My dear friend Jeff Brodsky is getting married on Saturday, so I will be
Oh, congrats, Jeff.
on the other side of the country at his wedding. But I am leaving. I'm skipping. Like on Sunday, there's like a whole bagel spread thing post wedding, and I'm skipping it, and I'm flying back early so I can watch Game 7 if necessary.
Is that true?
Yeah, I like looked up when I bought my tickets, I looked up the ALCS schedule, and I was like, all right, I just have to be back by Game 7.
Is it in LA?
The wedding, yeah.
Jeff does some good podcast music. Maybe he can give me some pointers on
Yeah,
Baby,
I mean,
I'm an
like, I
Anarchist.
think it's funny that we do. Is it "Baby, I'm an Anarchist" from when you were in high school to start our
Yeah.
podcast? But I don't
think
think
it's- I was
everyone knows
16.
that, because like you cut it off before you start singing the line about "I stole my brother's girl and hit the road." So it's
No, I sneak it in there.
You sneak
It's
it in?
there. For the loyal listeners, I think they've probably picked it up by now. Or the loyal Once the Redemption fans.
I just think we should I think we need to change a photo. I think it should stop being like us on vacation when we were toddlers. I think we should be a little bit more mysterious. And I think,
What?
yeah, like, like a Sam McInnes or like painting or something. That would
You
be nice.
just want like a homoerotic, like naked painting of us instead of like this nostalgic, nice
Yes,
painting where
that's
we're,
what
like,
I'm saying.
photograph where we're wearing sunglasses.
Uh-huh.
I guess that's more mysterious. I don't know.
Mysterious might be the wrong. Anyway, let's talk about the Patriots. What a game last night, huh?
That was so fucking fun. Wow. 43-40 was the final score.
Sam, let me ask you this question. When it was 40-33 Patriots after we kicked a field goal, I was pissed. And let me tell you
There's
why.
3 minutes left.
In
right?
2003 and 2004, when the Patriots were like winning 25 straight games or whatever it was, 21, they won 21 straight games. I realized what like a good football team looks like. A good football team, when they have a 4-point lead and the ball with less than 3 minutes left, they just work the clock and they don't let the Chiefs get the ball back. We couldn't do that. We marched down the field, but the drive stalled.
Thanks to Gronk.
We had to kick a long field goal, putting us up by 7, and then we immediately gave the ball back with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. And I was like, that sucks. If we had just gotten a few more first downs, they wouldn't have any timeouts left, and we could take knees and win this game without any drama. And instead, the drive stalls,
what I was thinking in my head,
we give the ball back. And this is my question for you. Do you think Bill Belichick told his players
let them have that touchdown on the first play?
To let them score a touchdown on the first play to leave Tom Brady the ball 3 minutes and the game tied 40-40?
I mean, so when we were kicking it off, I was like, okay, so they're clearly going to score. We can't stop them. But maybe they'll score in like 2 minutes and we'll still have a minute and 3 timeouts to drive down the field. But I think he didn't need to tell them because I think we genuinely couldn't stop that guy.
Well, it's true that every time we play that guy, we can't stop him.
That was Tyreek Hill, right?
Yeah. We
can't stop Tyreek Hill and we can't stop Kareem Hunt. Those two are just completely unstoppable. They're too fast for us. There's no one on our team. I want to say this. Hightower had a great game. He had the interception. He had like great pressures on the quarterback. He was hitting Kelsey like
every
to start plays off. So he had a great game. But also watching him a few times in coverage against Kareem Hunt, I was just like, this fucking sucks. He's old. He's slow.
Well, Stephon Gilmore said that Tyreek Hill's the fastest person he's ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. So
why wasn't Gilmore on him? I didn't understand that. What was the fucking plan?
I mean, Sammy Watkins requires coverage.
Right.
And like Sammy Watkins is good. He's like first round pick for the Bills a few years ago.
Yeah,
And
so we
Stephon
did a good
Gilmore
job. We
really
took
wiped
Sammy
him out.
Watkins out of the game.
And so,
Yeah, and we took Kelsey out of the game too. Kelsey, like, there was all this talk like Kelsey's the greatest tight end in the game now, and I thought that was premature. Gronk was much better than Kelsey in that game.
Gronk made so many huge differences in the run game in the beginning of the game, and then when we needed him, he had only 3 receptions, but he still had 90-something yards.
Yeah, he almost had 100 yards. It was crazy. That guy Tyreek Hill is so fast, and no one could cover him, and it seemed like there was like breakdowns in coverage left and right.
So, did you see what happened after he scored that last touchdown? And he like he was going so fast that he couldn't slow up, so he like got pretty close to the stands, and everyone gave him the finger, and one guy threw beer on him.
No, I didn't see that.
Well, it's not a great look for the New England fans to like throw beer and flip off like a incredible black athlete, but like what if they were throwing beer on him because he is a known domestic abuser, and the people in the front row were just like trying to tell him that his violence against women is completely unacceptable?
Is that true?
Well, it is true that he was suspended for that.
Oh,
but it's not true that that's why that they threw beer on him. I don't.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say. But the same thing happened to Kimbrel when he was walking into the game in New York. So they were throwing like full beer bottles at him, which again isn't a great look for the Yankee fans. But I wouldn't expect anything more from Patriots fans too, honestly. So I just wanted to know if you had consumed the same images as me.
No, I missed that one. That's interesting. Well, yeah, it is. It's nice to like. Sometimes I'm on the train, and everyone's fucking, like, has their head bent down and they're playing Candy Crush on their phones. I like to pretend that they're all working really hard collectively on a problem of like how to fold proteins in a way to cure cancer or something. It makes it look less bleak. It sounds like you were like doing some of that. They were throwing beer because they were saying in Boston we don't tolerate domestic abuse. Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, but Boston is a city in America, and America tolerates domestic abuse. So I think we can probably eliminate that as a motivation.
I'm saying you can like, right. Sometimes it's just nice to briefly enter an alternative reality.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think at this point I'm ready to say that I love Sony Michel, the Patriots rookie running back. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, James White was getting the same sort of productive carries as him, though. I just really think it was our offensive line and the way our 2 tight ends block.
Yeah, I mean, Michel's really good.
He's really good.
He is. He had 100. He had 100 yards. Josh Gordon is now just like part of the offense. There's no more. We don't have to wait anymore. And
he led the team in targets, but he only had. They weren't huge gains. It was like he was going.
He had that bomb in the beginning where the guy tackled him at the goal line.
Yeah, that set up a touchdown.
That should have been his stats. I mean, he would have caught that ball if the guy didn't pass interfere him. So he's huge, Josh Gordon.
He's huge. It's great.
He had a couple third down completions. He's great. I mean, that was such a balanced attack. I thought it was. I mean, Gronk really came alive at the end. Hogan had his best game of the season. Edelman looked good. Edelman dropped a couple passes, but I'm gonna give him a pass because it's just working his way back into it, and he had the most incredible catch I've ever seen in my life in the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
That was such a good catch.
Our offense looks really good. In our defense, I mean, it's hard to say that our defense looked good when we gave up 40 points, but it wasn't totally their fault. Brady had that horrible fumble. That was really frustrating and stupid. Our special teams, finally, I've been saying this all season, and finally the national media is on board. Our special teams is a problem. We continue to give up enormous gains on special teams.
Yeah, they almost scored a touchdown.
That was awesome that Devin McCourty chased him down and tackled him to the 1 yard line. we're doing this thing that's super like it's really clever, but it's just ineffective. Where we kick it high up in the air so that the kickoff like lands on the 1 yard line to avoid the touchback. So thinking that we can like cover the kick really well and get them like steal a few yards, maybe tackle them before the 25-yard line.
We did that to Atlanta in the Super Bowl to great effect. It was very instrumental in that comeback against them.
Right. So it's not the first time that we've done this, but
we are
past,
not as good as we used to be on special teams. I think we covered this in a previous podcast.
Right, so we should not do this. We should put that strategy on ice until we figure out how to cover the kickoff.
I mean, I think we did for the rest of the game after that fiasco, no?
Yes, but it was a little too late.
I agree. I mean, look, the Patriots have scored high 30s, low 40s in each of their last 3 games. I think there's I'm very curious to see how he play against the Bears, who are a
one
good
of the best
defense.
Defensive teams, yeah.
But they just lost the Dolphins, so like I don't think that anyone is that good at defense. I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop us. It's just a question of who gets the ball last in big games, and I think the teams with really good offenses this year are separating themselves from the pack, and I would include the Patriots as one of them, and the Rams and the Chiefs and the Saints, the top 4 teams in the league.
Interesting.
Do you think that we're gonna beat the Bears next week?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I think it's interesting. Teams with a really good offense and a bad defense, like the Chiefs, don't scare me as much as a team with a really good defense and a so-called bad offense, because the Patriots' defense has a tendency to make a bad offense look good, like the Jaguars. Like a team like the Bears or the Jaguars that have really good defense, but their offense isn't good. They scare me more because their defense can shut down our offense, and usually our defense kind of isn't there yet. So I'm actually a little bit worried at this game. Not as much as I was against the Chiefs, of course, but
I just think that any strength, let's say the Bears pass rush, because they have Khalil Mack and a couple other really good players, are so good that Brady only has 1 second to throw the ball. I think he's really good when he only has 1 second to throw the ball, and if he knows it, he'll get rid of the ball quickly. I just think eventually you won't be able to keep us off the board. It's unclear if our secondary will prevent enough big plays to win the game, though, because that's Chicago's bread and butter is bombs.
Huh. Well, I think we're probably not gonna lose again for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it seems like after winning this game now that we won this game, I think we're gonna like in each individual game. I mean, there's probably gonna be a letdown, here or there.
Yeah, there's gonna be a letdown, and we still have to go into Pittsburgh, and we're playing the Vikings
and the Packers. Yeah, I mean, we could lose one of those games, but I just think now that we've shown that we can beat the best team in the league, I will probably in each game think that the Patriots are going to win.
Yeah. Agreed. So, Max, I would like to now do a preview of the Celtics season.
Well, we're at 46 minutes by my count, so I feel pretty okay with giving you time to do this. So I will just say that, the Bruins have won 4 straight, which is great. It's great that the Bruins have won 4 straight. It's great that they're playing really well, and so I don't have to pay such close attention to it, because I would find it stressful if I had to also oh my god, assessing the problems with the Bruins while the Red Sox are in the playoffs and the Patriots are trying to shake off their early season yips. It would just be too much for me. So I'm concerned about, in the same way that I haven't been able to bring to you my I watched the game against the Detroit Red Wings, and I think we have to spend some time introducing our listeners to David Pasternak, the Pasta Man for the Bruins, who is a budding superstar in the NHL and like can do things on ice. He looks like a fucking figure skater, and yet he's powerful and graceful and never misses. And I love him.
That's the guy that had the hat trick?
Yeah, on Saturday. But like then on Saturday, you know, like so the Bruins move their game up on Saturday, so I'm able to watch this. Pasta Man has a fucking hat trick. And then I was feeling so happy for him and about the Bruins because like it's awesome to see good hockey played. I couldn't remember a single fucking thing about that game as soon as the Red Sox started because I had just like undulating crashes of anxiety watching Nunez in multiple innings set back the cause of third basemen by centuries. It was terrible. And I like it's I'm wary of talking about basketball or hockey right now because of my emotional capacities limitations based on how
you are an extremely emotionally limited person. And I appreciate you giving it your best effort.
All right. What do you let's talk. Let's talk about the Celtics.
I want to go deep into the Celtics. And just in case, we'll see how long this goes, and maybe this is just one episode, but just in case, welcome to part 2 of Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz, episode 6, a Celtics preview. Because, Max, tomorrow night is opening day for the Celtics for the NBA season. We're playing the 76ers.
It's also game 3 of the ALCS.
That's right. So you be curled up into your ball of anxiety, rocking yourself back and forth, watching the Red Sox win in Houston, thanks to Nathan Eovaldi. I'm going to be focused on the Celtics picking up where they left off last season.
Well, I do think that the game starts pretty early Eastern time. So you have that going for you. The Red Sox game does. So I think, you'll be... If you wanted to watch all the Red Sox game, it would probably be over before the first half of the Celtics game.
Interesting.
Which is nice. I mean, that's what I'm planning on doing.
I think I might sit out the first quarter of opening night with the Celtics anyway, just because of the trauma of last year.
Yeah, remember that I was watching. That's a great point, Samson. I was watching game on my computer and I was like I'm just gonna watch the opening quarter because like I had to there was like a party I was supposed to be at, and after 5 minutes I just like got into bed and like pulled the covers up and felt really really bad. It was horrible
last year. There was because of the horrific injury to Gordon Hayward. In case anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, last year within the first 5 minutes of the first Celtics game, but Gordon Hayward's back. So yeah, give it a little time. Oh wait, can I just say one last thing? Like I liked that the MLB flexed and were like not going to back down from scheduling their game during Sunday Night Football when the entire city of Boston was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Don't put the Red Sox playoff game at the same time as the Patriots' biggest regular season game. This is fucking nuts. I loved it. It was so fun for me to watch both at the same time. It was like I both appreciate the gusto of the baseball for not doing it, and I thought as a viewer, I know people do this. People have fucking extremely problematic man caves where they go to escape themselves and their sad lives, and they watch many sports games at once, and they should go to therapy instead, and they should do like nice things for their family and try and like listen to their feelings. But they don't. They just watch multiple sports games at once, and that was my first experience watching multiple sports games at once, and it was so fun. I really liked it. Anyway, let's talk about the Celtics.
Okay, so I feel like we should talk about a few things. I guess I just want to know, in this preview that you've conceived for the Celtics, are you trying to preview the entire season, or are you just trying to preview this game? Because if you're just trying to preview this game, I'd like to know who starts.
Well, I want to preview the entire season, not by like going through games or something like that, or even like talking too much about other teams. I just wanted to do a deep dive into our roster, really kind of cover the whole everyone. But I think, and let's preview this game against the Philadelphia 76ers, who I think are going to be our biggest rivals. You convinced me earlier this summer on air, I think it was episode 2, it might have been the first episode, that we should start our Sun Tzu lineup, our Art of War lineup. The lineup where they have to adjust to us, not the other way around. Although it was this game in mind that made me question whether we should start Baines in the first place and bring Tatum off the bench, because I don't love Al Horford having to defend Joel Embiid for 30 minutes in that game. I really want to see Baines go out there to relieve him. Al Horford can guard 3-4 different positions. He's at his best when he can move around, where he's not just like trapped in the key trying to defend post-ups from Joel Embiid. So I do want to see Baines relieve him early, if not start. You did convince me that we should just put out our Sun Tzu lineup to start the game, especially because I want to see Smart finish the game. So I do want to see our Sun Tzu lineup at one point, and I think at the beginning of the game is probably good, and then maybe the beginning of the second half too.
Yeah, I mean, last year when we started right before, 1 minute into the game was a horrific Gordon Hayward injury, but we started with Hayward and Tatum and Kyrie and Horford and Jaylen Brown, and that's like a really exciting thing, and I hope to see it.
Yeah, so that is going to be our starting lineup. It was our starting lineup last year, and it lasted for 5 minutes, and it will be our starting lineup again this year. Hopefully, it'll last a lot longer.
But maybe it won't be to start with. Maybe Hayward comes off the bench because he's still nursing that injury, and you get your wit. I have to say. About Aaron Baines, he's an Australian man, and we follow him on Instagram. Apparently, did you do that?
Yep.
Yeah. So I noticed in his Instagram a lot of photos of him just like draped in the Australian flag, like coddling himself. Swaddling himself like a baby in the Australian flag, which I think is not a good look. I think the Australian flag is a symbol of white supremacy and colonialism for the indigenous population. But one of the weird things was his teammate on the Spurs and on apparently the Australian national basketball team is Patty Mills, who is an indigenous Australian. And Patty Mills is very open about not liking the Australian flag, and when he chooses to drape himself in a flag, it's always in the indigenous tribe that he belongs to flag. I think it's a really weird dynamic between those two, who are seemingly friends and Instagram each other a lot. But I wonder if Patty Mills just thinks that Aaron Baines is a ignorant white demon who can't possibly be asked to understand the impacts of white colonialism on the island of Australia. But in any case, I don't feel great about him starting for us, and I would rather he not.
Okay. That's an interesting take on Australian racial dynamics. And I didn't know that Patty Mills was of indigenous Australian descent. So I just want to go through the one of the nice things about basketball, unlike football and baseball, is that the lineups are really the whole team is small. I can name you every single player on the Celtics, and I'd like to do that and just kind of go over who's on our team and what to expect from them this year. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. Could you get out your calculator real quick?
My calculator?
Yeah, I just want to talk
Sure.
about the amount of minutes possible in an NBA season, which is in
48
NBA minutes
or an NBA game.
Well, it's 48 minutes a game, correct?
That's correct.
It's 5 players on the court at once.
Correct.
Um,
So 48 times 5 is
So it's
240
240 minutes a
I just know that
game.
off the top of my head. Yeah.
by my math, it's 240 minutes a game. I just like multiplied 5 times 8, which is 40, and 5 times 40, which is 200. So I think it's 240 minutes a
You
game.
don't need to show your work on this test.
Well, I'm just
Yes.
talking out loud, brother. Could you please stop interrupting me? So in any case, when you go through this, right, we have 240 minutes a game times 82, which is a whole shitload of minutes that we have to account for. And I would just love to know who you think deserves those minutes and how many each player is going to play.
Oh, as we go through the lineup.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we just... I think that the thing is, there's like, it's something... I mean, 240 times 82, I think is like 19,680. I'm not going to divvy up those minutes because I think what you should know is that people will rest certain games. Also, certain games will be blowouts.
Sure.
Like, I think if we bring in our lineup of death, our Sun Tzu Art of War lineup in the third quarter, we will blow teams out so that we can play our reserves in the fourth quarter. So, but in a typical game that's like head to head, wire to wire, what would the minutes distribution be? Not in a must-win game, like in a game that would be kind of stand-in for the regular season. I think that's a pretty good exercise.
Great.
Let's start with Kyrie Irving. Now, listen, no one is getting more than 30 minutes a game, really, 30, 31 minutes. I also posted a thing on our Instagram that I thought was a good substitution, like a good, let me just look for it real quick. On our Instagram, which is Phone Wallet Keys David Ortiz, I posted these weird diagrams that I was doing in the summer, in the dog days of summer, where I would do potential substitution patterns because I'm apparently a fucked up nerd. But I'm going to look at it now and refer to it. Okay, so our starting point guard is Kyrie Irving, the best player on our team, our team leader. He's 26
Maybe you
years old.
should spend less time thinking about this and more time beating up Proud Boys.
You're probably right.
Yeah. Anyway,
But maybe that's
Kyrie Irving is the best player on our team.
really unforgivable interruption as I'm going into our segment here. And yet I still forgive you because you're my brother.
How magnanimous of you. Does your generosity know no bounds?
It knows no bounds. 30 minutes a game for Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Kyrie Irving is the most fun basketball player that I've ever watched in my life.
What is so fun about him?
I think it's between him and Kevin Garnett was the other, and he's not quite as fun as Kevin Garnett yet, but he's really close. Like, Kevin Garnett was so fun to watch because his intensity was unrivaled and it was scary and palpable, and it would amp me up, and he would scream at people and pound his fist on the parquet, and just he was like a relentless shit talker, and
his shit talking would make people feel scared and small, and it was really something to behold. I continue to be inspired by Kevin Garnett's example. He's by far the most exciting person to have to root for and to have can you imagine if Kevin Garnett had your back in anything? Like, imagine if it was you and Kevin Garnett going up against the Proud Boys.
Oh, I would feel great about going up
Jesus
against Proud
Christ,
Boys.
it would be so awesome. I just Kevin Garnett could single-handedly solve the Proud Boy epidemic with one. He would just be out there handing out choke slams left and right, and it would be so cool. It would be like the Detroit Pistons Eastern Conference Final from years ago. It would be just so cool.
Okay, so Kyrie Irving might be even more fun to watch than Kevin Garnett because he is so good at 3 different things. And they happen, and he's got the ball in his hand all the time. He's the best dribbler Not only is he the best dribbler I've ever seen, but I think he might be one of the best dribblers of all time. Like just one of the best human beings to ever dribble a basketball. If you've never watched basketball before, just watch a Celtics game and you'll know who Kyrie Irving is when your jaw drops to the floor because you just saw a human being dribble in a way that didn't seem possible, physically possible. It's this fluid and yet complex, ornate dance with the ball, and it's amazing to watch. And then he is a unbelievable shooter. He's one of the best shooters of all time. Also, one of the best shooters in the league. Top 5 shooters in the league. And then he's one of the best finishers, meaning like he puts his like so he's basically impossible to guard. People they have to be careful of his incredible shot, but then meanwhile he'll dribble into traffic and there'll be people trying to swipe the ball away from him and he'll just like finish with either hand flying away with an incredible layup. He's so fun to watch, and he's got a very charismatic smile. I saw the Celtics play against the Nets last year. My friend Rob got us really good tickets, and I could not take my eyes off of Kyrie. I mean, I was really excited to see the whole team. I loved Tatum. I was like, but I just could not take my eyes off Kyrie. He's so charismatic and incredible.
Okay.
So
you're getting me really excited. You're getting me really excited about basketball and Kyrie Irving. I'm so glad he's on our team. Yeah, it's like every once in a while you think about like who should have the max contracts on our team, and it's like, ooh, there's so many other players out there. Like, what if we had a dominant, huge dude instead of Kyrie? But like, it's true. It's just great. It's great to have Kyrie. You're right. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Now do Tatum.
Okay.
Now do Tatum.
Nope, I'm gonna work my way out.
No, do
Actually,
Tatum
fine.
now.
All right, so Kyrie, 30 minutes a game in the regular season. Next up, we have Jason Tatum, because the Celtics are playing this beautiful positionless basketball thing or not positionless, but whereas in the past we've had point guards, shooting guards, small forward, power forward, and center. Those are the 5 positions. Now we just have a ball handler, 3 wings, and a big. So I think Jason Tatum is a traditional small forward, although maybe he could play power forward, although he could also play shooting guard. He's a wing. He's 20 years old. He is the second best offensive player on our team. I mean, I'm not sure what to expect from Gordon Hayward, but at least to start off the season in this game, he'll be the second best offensive player. He had one of the most remarkable rookie seasons that anyone has had that I've ever. It's the best basketball rookie season that I've ever seen. He is like doesn't. I'm not really sure too much about his personality yet. I mean, he's 20, so I think it's fair to say that it's still kind of forming.
I think that's so great and operative here. He's so good. He dunked in LeBron James' face and then hit his step back 3 in his eye in the Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals at 19 years old. It's really exciting that we have this incredible talent who's so young.
He's so young, and he was leading the league in 3-point percentage for a while. He's an incredible outside shot. He's got really, really long arms, and he can hold the ball like with his arms fully extended, and it's basically like while he's driving in for a layup, and it's really, really hard to guard. And he's been working all summer on improving his game. He idolizes Kobe Bryant's basketball game, which is fine. Kobe Bryant is a bad man.
Yeah,
who should not get a pass.
I wish we would not talk about how much Jason Tatum loves Kobe Bryant as much as everyone does.
Well, I think it's okay that he loves Kobe Bryant's basketball game, sort of, even though he was a ball hog who took way too many shots and only cared about his own individual statistics. But it's definitely not okay to, look up to him as a human being. He was a very, very bad man, and he should not be given a platform to influence the basketball youth, the next generation of basketball players. And they should have better role models,
like Kevin Garnett. Yeah, no, I agree.
Like people who just like don't like, sexually abuse and take advantage
Of their
young
power.
women.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So Jason Tatum,
I think
I
he
hope
needs
you-
more minutes, Sam. I think he needs to lead the team in minutes. I think he's so young and so talented that we need to forge and polish him in the fires of the NBA. And I don't think 30 minutes is going to cut it. I want to see him play
All right.
33, 34, 35. I want him to lead the team in
It's-
minutes.
No. He can lead the team in minutes at 32, but that's it. all
33,
he's
Larry
getting.
Bird.
He's not getting 33 minutes. This is not happening. So let's give him 32 for now because he's really fun to watch. I think he's an underrated defensive player. I think that he's been working on his he's got a pretty good handle for a guy his size, and he is, along with Kyrie, he can score in isolation. He can shoot off a screen. He's very versatile. So that's why I kind of like the idea. I think ideally between Kyrie, Tatum, and Gordon Hayward, one of those guys will be on the floor at all times, so that at any given moment in any given basketball game, we'll have a player out there who can create their own offense, who you can just or if the shot clock's, you can just give him the ball with the shot clock going down and he can make a move. He doesn't need, these guys can function within the offensive system, but if it breaks down, they can just go out there and get you some baskets. Okay. Moving on, Jaylen Brown. Did you see him? He gave a talk at MIT last week, where he talked about school to prison pipeline and some other incredible things. Jaylen Brown is probably my favorite player on the Celtics team. He's so smart. He's a very, very interesting person. He's very well rounded. His interests transcend basketball, which that's the kind of athlete that I really want to root for. But just speaking about basketball, Jaylen Brown is really, really good. He's 21 years old, or is he? I think maybe he's 22 now. He's incredibly young. He is the most gifted athlete on our team, meaning he's very fast. He's got incredible ups. He's probably the best perimeter defender. Maybe Marcus Smart is a little bit better, but Jaylen Brown is certainly the best perimeter defender of our starting five, and I think, is going to make huge strides this year. The improvements that he made from his rookie year to his second year, which was last season, were enormous, and I don't think that he's anywhere near his ceiling. So I think that he's actually going to continue to make these big, big improvements. I'm giving him 30 minutes a game. You with me still?
I'm with you. I also did you see? I mean, we should just talk about what a
Max, how are you holding the phone right now? No, you don't do that. No.
Sam, is this okay?
No, that's not okay. You know how to hold the phone. That's the only way to hold it. We've lost episodes of Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz, because my brother was so petulant that he refused to follow the directions about how to record his voice, and I just caught him doing it again. I'm now concerned for this episode. How long were you doing that?
I was doing it probably since you started talking about Kyrie Irving, but maybe a little after that. You've just been talking a lot lately, and now it's my turn. So, Jaylen Brown, first of all, spent last week at Harvard with Colin Kaepernick, which is really cool. I think we need to admit to ourselves that the budding relationship between Mr. Jaylen Brown and Mr. Colin Kaepernick is a very exciting thing, and it's a reason that I'm excited about being alive. I think Jaylen Brown is got a chance to be the most politically conscious and conscious raising athlete in the city of Boston since Bill Russell, maybe since Jim Rice, but I don't really know. I just want to make sure that any conversation about Jaylen Brown has a lot of political discussion in it. So I agree with everything you said. I think his jump from rookie year to second year was incredible. It makes me really excited to see what's going to happen this year. But I'm also just really excited to hear what he has to say about what's going on in the city of Boston and indeed the country.
Next up, we have Gordon Hayward. So Jaylen Brown, we're giving 30 minutes a game to. So Kyrie 30, Tatum 32, Jaylen Brown 30.
We're giving
Gordon
him 30
Hayward,
minutes a game and his own platform from which to assail systemic white supremacy.
Yes. And then also we're booking him at our chess club / piano bar, i.e. our parents' house.
I think he would feel right at home.
Okay, so Gordon Hayward, I'm going to pencil him in at 28 minutes for now. And if that's too much, I don't obviously have access to his medical records. I'm not really sure. I know he's going to be on minutes restrictions, but not much. Coming back from a really bad injury, he didn't play last year. And in the preseason, he looked
okay at best.
Okay. He had flashes of what he's going to be able to do on the team, but he also clearly looked like someone who didn't trust his feet yet. I wouldn't either. I broke my leg playing basketball in college, and
that's such a crazy story. The story of you. Did I ever tell you that, like, when I was told this story by our parents, the story of you breaking your leg? First of all, the story is that Sam was playing at Reed College, a small liberal arts school in Portland, Oregon, against a Bible-thumping Christian school. Is that right?
Yeah.
Whose cheers were like they would bring everyone in before the game and be like, "Praise the Lord," instead of being like, "Go team." And that's fine. But when you broke your leg, they all got down on their knees and prayed for you, right?
That's true. Yeah. The whole stadium was like holding hands and praying as I was being carted out.
So I can't believe that happened to you, and I'm so sorry. I really wish I had been there to like have a full meltdown and punch a doctor in the face and call him a quack or something. I would have really done you right. But Mom and Dad told me that like they were concerned because they weren't sure what part of your leg you had broken. If like you had broken like the upper part instead of the part below your knee, they were like, which was unclear to them at the time when I was first being reported the news. There was like concern that you had a bone density issue and maybe like leukemia or something. Like as soon as as soon as word spread of your injury to me, Mom and Dad went to like the cancer place rather than like just, oh, that sucks for our son. It's like our son might have cancer because he broke his leg.
I know that you've been for years you've been trying to put out rumors about bone density problems that I've had because to try and get yourself off the hook for breaking my arm with a baseball bat when I was 5. You've always wanted to be like, well, your arm is already broken. Actually, you just have weak bones.
You should get that looked at. I think
tapped you.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm misremembering this. Maybe as soon as I heard that you broke your leg at a Christian school, I chalked it up to your bone density issue and recommended you get screened for leukemia to exonerate myself for breaking your arm when you were 5. But in my defense, you had already broken that arm, so it's easy to break again, which I think is an important bit of context before all of you judgmental listeners start texting me. Please understand that he broke his arm already by falling in the Massachusetts Bay Transit Authority Green Line stop in between Brookline Village and Longwood. I remember it quite well. We were coming back from a baseball game. He fell in the subway because he was not very good at standing, breaking his arm. And then later on, we were having like a little baseball bat joust, and I broke his arm again. But let's get back to Gordon Hayward before I look like any more of a psycho, please.
So he's coming back from a really hard injury that it's hard to come. Like it takes a while to get full confidence back in your physical abilities.
But the story of Gordon Hayward is so wonderful, and that's like, I'm so glad he's on our team. Brad Stevens, who came out of nowhere to become our coach, led a really small college, Butler University in Indiana, like Hoosierdom, to the Final Four twice, and he almost beat Duke in the championship game with Gordon Hayward on his team, and that's really cool. It's really cool that they're back together after years apart, and like these two old friends are like trying to finally win a championship together. I love the Gordon Hayward Brad Stevens dynamic, and I'm really excited to have him.
I kind of haven't thought about that for a while. I was really excited about that last year when we signed him. That's part of the reason why he wanted to sign with us, is because
the only reason he wanted to sign with us,
unfinished business, and it had a picture of him being like 20 years old and like crying, and Brad Stevens hugging him, and yeah, it's really, that's sweet, and I am looking forward to that also. So we basically have no idea what to expect from him. When he was healthy, he was a top 15 player, and we just don't know what it's going to be like. I mean, so let's move on. I'm going to give him 28 minutes. I just don't know what else to say. I mean, he could be an unbelievable wing. He could take him this whole season to sort of get his sea legs back. We'll see. So Al Horford's next. So Al Horford has been the anchor of our team for the last 3 years.
More.
He is have we had him for 4? I don't think so.
Oh, I think we've had him for 4.
No. This will be his 4th. Or, no, I think this might only be his 3rd.
You're wrong. I don't know. Ask Wikipedia. They know.
It doesn't matter. Al Horford's like our gritty. He's going to do what it takes to win.
We were able to sign him as a free agent before we were good. Before everyone knew that Brad Stevens was really good, Al Horford believed in him. Al Horford believed in the Celtics before we had all these incredible draft picks, or before we started like these incredible draft picks we had matured into like legit assets. He signed with us before we had Kyrie, before we had Gordon Hayward. He's the backbone of our team, and the reason why it started getting good again for the Celtics when we landed Al Horford. And I'm
yes.
really, I love him. I love his wife, who is.
I love him too.
Anna Horford, Al Horford's wife, is like an anti-racist Twitter personality, and I think she's really cool.
Wasn't she also the former Miss Miss Puerto Rico, or Miss where is he from? Dominican Republic?
Yeah. Which is also really cool that he's from the same town as Pedro Martinez, the greatest Bostonian since Fred Douglass. I love that they have we've had like incredible Dominican athletes in our city ever since I was a kid, and it's nice.
And thanks also to the internet, because I am for the vindication. This is Al Horford. This is going to be his 3rd season with the Celtics. We signed him the year before we signed Hayward.
No.
That being said,
that's
yes,
just not true.
It just is true. We signed him in 2016, July of 2016. So his first year.
Are you sure that wasn't just like a re-signing, Sam?
Yes. We haven't re-signed him. We signed him to a 4-year max in 2016. I'm not going to waste any more of the precious time of our listeners.
I'm sorry that you didn't get the vindication from me, only the internet, because that just doesn't sound right to me.
I can't believe that you're gaslighting me in the face of hard evidence.
You're a bad man, but I want to get back to Al Horford.
Well, so I just want to talk to you about how good Al Horford is, and the Celtics have a couple guys, Al Horford, Marcus Smart, who are so good and so important to the overall team vision, but that people just like who don't watch the Celtics every day don't understand that they're good or important.
Right. They're really, really good
guys.
and really, really important, and we don't need them to score, so they don't score a lot. And yet they're still very, very important to our team, which I think is on some Marxist understanding of how each person contributes and what they can, and to the best of their ability. And I think the Celtics are a nice illustration of this idea that.
Yeah, it's just like about swallowing your ego. Like he could go out there and be a big star, but he's he kind of facilitates the offense. Our offense runs through the bigs. That's one of the like Stevens trademarks is that the ball handlers will bring it up, but the first pass will usually be to the big guy who will then distribute it. So it all kind of runs through Horford, and then he's also kind of the like quarterback of the defense. In a way, Horford's the most important player on our team, and he's also the most unsung. So I love Al Horford. He was huge the playoffs last year. Okay, so that's our starting five. Let's go. We're going to give Al Horford 28 minutes. So we got 28 for Horford, 28 for Hayward, and then 32 for Tatum, 30 for Kyrie and Jaylen Brown. So now we get to our bench, and we have my favorite bench player is Marcus Smart. We love Marcus Smart. Max, what do you have to say about Marcus Smart?
I love Marcus Smart. I think he is a everyman. I think he is a blue collar, working class hero. The way it's funny to say that about a millionaire, but the way he plays is so. He gets his hands so much dirtier than everyone else. He dives on the floor. He bangs his body. He's like a real bulwark. And I was really happy that we re-signed him. I think like it just shows how much the fact that we're willing to pay $10 million to a person coming off the bench who doesn't score a lot speaks volumes about what he does bring to the table and how much we value him.
And what we value too. I totally agree. He's so fun to watch. He'd be so annoying to play against. He's a great defender, and he's just like has a knack for being in the right place at the right time in the end of a game to make a huge play that will not show up on a stat sheet that will just completely alter the outcome of the game. So it's a great guy to have on your bench. And also, I mean, he's probably going to finish games like in place of Jaylen Brown is my guess.
Jaylen Brown is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I just don't like it's you're wrong about this. You're just wrong about this. Jaylen Brown
Smart
doesn't sit down for Marcus Smart. Gordon Hayward does.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what to expect from Gordon Hayward, but if Gordon Hayward is as good as he was that last year in the Jazz, he's a top 15 player, so he's better than Jaylen Brown will be this year. But we'll see. You're right. If Gordon Hayward isn't that good, then it's going to be something else. All right, so next up, we have Terry Rozier. Oh, so Marcus Smart, I want to see him getting 20 minutes a game. Now that's a lot, but I don't actually think it's that much for our number one bench player. 20 minutes a game, because I have him penciled in for the last 6 minutes too, of the game. I want him out there when the game's on the line.
Do you want him bringing up the ball, running point?
No, I want Kyrie doing that.
Ever, I mean.
Oh. He can, but I would rather have Kyrie or Rozier do that.
So if Kyrie is getting 30 minutes a game, is that right?
That's right.
That leaves 18 minutes a game for Rozier to be the point guard?
That's exactly correct. That's what I have. Rozier, 18 minutes a game. And yeah, in the preseason, we Stevens had no problem playing them at the same time. And I think that's interesting. I think that ultimately, though, it just should be Kyrie at 30 and Terry at 18, and they're just subbing for each other. So because they're very similar skill set, Terry Rozier is probably the best backup point guard in the NBA. Made incredible strides last year. He's a great offensive player. He's really strong, so he's a good defense. He plays bigger than he actually is. So he's a really good defensive point guard. Arguably, he's a better defensive player than Kyrie, but he's just doesn't have those transcendent talents that Kyrie does, even though he's really good. So I feel great about him as our second unit point guard. I mean, as good as you could possibly feel. The Phoenix Suns have shown a lot of interest in Terry the last few weeks. I've been reading a lot of rumors about them because they need a point guard. I really hope we don't trade him.
I disagree with you. I just don't think we can afford to pay him as much as he's going to command on the open market when he's a free agent. And
yeah, today was the deadline to re-sign him, to like extend his rookie contract, and I don't think they did it. So yeah, but I think he's just so important to the plan this year that I, you know, as insurance in case anyone gets hurt, knocking on wood, just as a way to, I think, really truly dominate games with our second unit. We need Terry Rozier. And if we're just going straight up, the Suns offer their number 1 pick next year. I don't know if they have it, but if that's the deal, I don't take that.
that's insane. The Suns were the number 1 pick this year and they're going to be bad again.
They're not going to be that bad.
Sam,
again.
the West is loaded. There's only going to be 2 or 3 bad teams, and the Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings.
I think we could, which we have the Sacramento Kings
and
pick.
the Memphis Grizzlies, whose pick we get if it's outside the 8. Like, so we have if the Clippers pick is out of the top 15, we get that.
The Clippers make the playoffs, we get that. Yeah, if the Grizzlies is right.
If the Grizzlies finish,
so why do you want to add another pick to that? We're going to bring in 5
I don't. I want to
to
package our maybe our Sacramento pick, especially if the number 2 pick is going to be another 6'7" dude. I just don't know if we need any more 6'7" dudes on our team. So we could trade Terry Rozier and some of these like upcoming draft picks for another all-star if we needed it, or
like for like Devin Booker or something, it's not going to happen, I don't think.
Look, I don't know. We just have a lot of assets right now, and I'm not sure where they're all going to fit in. Like, imagine all of this conversation you're having, if Horford and Hayward and Kyrie are all under contract next year, we have Tatum and Brown. We're really going to try and break in a number 2 overall pick plus a number 8 overall pick, which is what we would get if the Grizzlies pick comes in and the Sacramento pick comes in. We would have the number 2, the number 8, the number 15 from the Clippers, and the 30th our own. Like, it's really stressful to me to think about having another like really good young player that we need to find minutes for. Like, what are we going to do? We need to start packaging these young assets into something tangible that can help us win a championship right now.
I mean, the only if we can figure out Anthony Davis.
What about Porzingis?
What about him?
Well,
the move is at in the off season. We package, we sign Kyrie, and then we make a trade of 4 different draft picks, 4 different number 1 picks for Anthony Davis, I guess, but that we still actually would have too many max players. Then you can't have 4 max players,
right? I mean, Horford eventually is gonna have to take less money.
Horford takes less money. Yeah, no, there's a path where it makes sense. I just don't want to trade Rozier yet. I want to let this season go for a little bit. Maybe at the deadline it's a different story. Let's keep moving on through the lineup though. Rozier at 18 minutes a game as the best, is the best backup point guard in the game in the NBA.
It's good.
Okay, so next up we have, I think then Baines is probably our 3rd best bench player. Baines, we've already talked about him. I see him getting around, 14 minutes a game. We'll see, because tomorrow when
it depends on how big the other, if...
Right.
I mean...
Right, so against the 76ers, who have a huge center in Joel Embiid, Baines will see a little bit more action, because Baines is gigantic and fearless and strong, and so he's a really good asset to have.
And we need him to cover guys like Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, there is a crop, and the NBA seems to be moving towards these dynamic centers who can play in the wings, and Baines can guard those people, and it's important to have him.
Yeah, but for a team that doesn't have that big dominant center,
until we trade Terry Rozier and all of our picks, go on.
No. I'm saying if we're facing a team this year
Oh, I
that
see.
doesn't have a big dominant center, Baines, we don't need him quite as much. And so then I'd like to see someone like the next guy, Daniel Tice, get some more minutes. Tice right now,
Could
I
you
have
please stop
getting tested
like disrespecting famous brother Marcus Morris, who has a twin in the NBA?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to Marcus Morris. I have a weird thing with him. I don't know exactly what it is.
I don't know
wanna talk
either.
about
You
Tice
really
first.
don't give him any love.
In reality, Morris is probably the third best bench player
Yeah.
that we have.
In reality.
In reality, he's better than Baines. He's better than Tice, but he's problematic.
Because he's Australian? Oh, no, we're talking
No.
about Morris.
Morris is problematic because like he's likes hero ball and he thinks he's got irrational confidence. He thinks he's better than he is, and there's not a lot of room for someone like that on our team. Like we have so much talent on our team that we need players who are willing to like be like, I know how good I am, and I know the ways that I can fit in this team to make it successful. And Morris is more just like he's like an I got this type of guy, and he only has it sometimes. And so sometimes it's really like sometimes we needed that. We needed that last year in the playoffs. Morris was huge for us, but he's not actually as good as he thinks he is. And so more like he says, I got this too much, and he doesn't bring enough to the table to back that up. Morris is a great player. I mean, he's going to get 12 minutes a game in my estimation, which is probably not enough to keep him happy, but I just don't see any way that he's going to get more than 12 minutes a game unless you're going to start taking those minutes from Jaylen Brown or Gordon Hayward or Jason Tatum, which we don't want to do. So Morris is not developing as a player. Like, we have all these really promising young guys.
You
Morris
can.
is not one of
I
them.
agree. There's. It's bad if we're giving him Tatum and Brown minutes. I would much rather see us play those guys. I agree with you.
But see, I'm also
brother,
worried about
we gotta
giving
wrap
him like
this up.
Tice's
So
minutes.
I
or
don't
Robert,
really want to
yeah.
go through Daniel Tice.
All right,
If
let's
you
just keep
want,
going rapid fire.
yeah,
Daniel
Robert
Tice is
Williams
the second
too.
year. He's a Daniel Tice second year. He's a German player. I love him. He's a really hardworking defensive player. He's got a shot. He's a big. I like Daniel Tice. Then we got Robert Williams, who I'm expecting big things from. I see Robert Williams getting 8 or 10 minutes a game unless it's a blowout and then playing more. But Robert Williams had a really strong preseason. He showed that he's going to be a versatile athlete. He's a big rim runner, but he can jump out on the perimeter too. And I'd like to actually see him get developed this year because I think that he could be a big part of the future of the Celtics. And then last up, we have the duo Semi Ojeleye and Gershon Yabusele. I don't know what to say about these guys. I'm glad they're on our team. I don't want them to get lots of minutes. I guess Semi had some really good playoff games. He guarded Ben Simmons. He guarded Antetokounmpo. Like, Semi actually is probably a really good player and is part of the vision of this team going forward also. But he's doesn't have a very high ceiling.
Listen, you're gonna have to think more about this. You're gonna have to I mean, the Memphis pick coming in, which could be a top 10 pick, and the Sacramento pick, which is going to be a top 5 pick. You need to start thinking about what we're going to do with these picks next year. Like, how are we going to get minutes given how we've already established that there's only 240 minutes a game next year if we're like trying to break in another Jason Tatum level talent, let alone 2 Jason Tatum level talents. So I encourage you to think about this going forward. This is a really good preview of the Celtics. I'm excited for the game. Brother, I got to go. This has been great, though.
It's been really fun. Thank you. I mean, I still have so many more things to talk about.
Like what? I'm sorry.
Well, there's like Jabari Bird is still on the
Nope.
Celtics roster.
He does. Nope.
The Aaron Hernandez, like the Globe Spotlight.
Have you
team
been
is
listening to
doing
that podcast? It's incredible.
I haven't. You have?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start. Is there anything about Aaron Hernandez that, like, I mean, it still is amazing to me that like a year after he's dead, or there's still like he'll lead on ESPN.com front page. Like, it's like people. So there's some stuff. Let's save that for a new episode.
Yeah, I mean,
Different
all I'll
episode.
say about it is it's never like if you look, as anyone who works trying to keep people out of jail will tell you, even it's never so simple as someone who's just like a murdering bastard, right? Like he had a terrible life, and people who get hurt by people hurt people. It's a good podcast, though. The Spotlight team has done it again.
Cool. Okay, anything else do you want to cover, Max, before we leave?
I'm sorry we didn't do Crime Against Humanity of the Week. I'm sorry we didn't do an update on brother news, though I did. I did remind you that Marcus Morris has a twin, which I think should... I mean, like,
That doesn't count.
did you know that Tom Brady doesn't have any brothers?
Yeah, but he's got a couple sisters.
He's got sisters, and one of them is married to Kevin Youkilis. But Rob Gronkowski does have brothers. You can just tell the difference in their personalities.
That's funny. Wait, what, you didn't do an NFL Crime Against Humanity? Do you have one?
Well, I was just so mad about Eric Dickerson that I just focused on his entire career oeuvre of racist comments rather than looking up who the Chiefs owner is.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to catch Max's NFL Crime Against Humanity, if you really missed it in our episode this week, you got to follow us on Twitter, Wallet Keys Ortiz, because he's going to give you one about the Chiefs that he forgot to research for the taping of this episode. And you can also follow his beefs with Boston sports writers and just like his quest to take this viral, but do not expect any content during a game because he is a wreck. And he does
Sam,
not
you don't
have
have to
the emotional
fucking
capacity.
celebrate the point I was making or belabor it. Like, let's just... what?
I love you. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Subscribe, give us a rating, tell your friend. Okay, this has been a long marathon. I'm sick. I gotta go to work. I love you.
I love you too. I'll get in touch soon.